Good morning, Teaserking family. How is everybody? Apologize for not being on yesterday, but it was a fluke. I've been looking for this movie for a while called Where Eagles Dare. It's Clint Eastwood, Richard Burton, World War II movie. It's on Fox Movies or whatever. I catch it. It's on at like 11 o'clock, goes till like 2 o'clock. And I had to watch it but it was on Fox, not like Netflix. Netflix never has this movie, unfortunately, motherfuckers. So I watched the movie, and great movie, very well done. That's where I was yesterday, and then I had to watch our two guys, Alistair McLean and Andrew McLeod, or whatever the fuck Andrew's name is. Very interesting. Hence the name. The Titanic is sunk, and the gold boat is leaving the dock. And I will back that up. It's happened, Bobby. You got weeks left. So I went on eBay, and I'm looking at prices. So this is an actual auction. Let's go into the sold auctions. No, let's stay in the actual. So this is what they're selling for. So the 1 ounce eagle, $21.59. Here's a coin. I love this one. Barbados. It's the trident. 2121, a Barbados trident. But you gotta love it. I mean, I don't know if I would sell it. That for some reason the Buffalo is 21.67. These are the 1 ounce versus the Eagle at 20. To me, it's the same thing, but they sell the Buffaloes for more than $10 higher. Here's another Eagle, 21.51. So you can see the gold's going up. Here's a 1/4 ounce Maple Leaf, 583. Let's see. Here's another 1 ounce Eagle, 21.56. Buy it now. Now here's a Maple Leaf, but it's 21.40. Where is it? 21.40. So really not much difference on eBay between the Maple Leaf and the Eagle. Yet if you go to the store and buy it, there's a considerable difference. Now, I don't understand this one. This is a 1/4 ounce Eagle, $900, but that's unusual. I don't know why, because normally they're not. This guy wants $21.87 for the 1 ounce, but you can see the prices. Here you go. Here's a Maple Leaf, $21.45. Again, not really much difference in the $21.50. Now, here's a 1/4 ounce Eagle for $6.42. I've been buying them for $5.60, $5.70, so they are up a little bit. Here's my 1/10 of an ounce Cougaran, $2.43. They've been $200. My 1/2 ounce Kangaroo, $1,072. I have that one. I don't know what I paid for. Probably about $900. And anything non-American. Now here's a 1 ounce Kangaroo, $21.35. So really not much difference. I want to get to the Cougaran. Because I got a lot of those. Those are cheaper. There's another Kangaroo, $21.38. So you can see really they're all about $21.50. Here's a neat one for you, Bobby. A Australian Dragon 1 ounce bullion for 20. This is 25, but it's a dragon. So how can you not buy a dragon coin? Where's the Cougarans? There's the Philharmonic, 2131. So you can see they're all in that ballpark. There really isn't much of a discrepancy. Here's the half ounce. I've been buying these for $900. Now it's up to $1,200. Again, this is on eBay. Let's see. Where's my Cougaran? Here's the 1/10 ounce kangaroo for $243. This is what I tell you: quit fucking around with the silver and buy these. Where's the Cougaran? This guy's a little bit more aggressive, 2193 on his random year. Buy it now. So what am I showing you? I'm showing you the actual market. Here you go. My Cougaran, 2134. So it's only $20 difference, right? The Cougaran, the Maple, they're all right around 2150. Okay, but yet I can go to the store and for $70, $80 cheaper get the Cougaran. And then he wants to sell it at 92%. But I can sell it on eBay for $21.34. So I sit there and, you know, now what the coin store doesn't understand is it's in competition. They don't understand what competition is. I can go on eBay and sell my Cougaran for $21.34. He wants to pay me 92% of spot. Spot's 2007, so I can get 19 something. I can get probably close to $175 more on eBay than selling it to him. So why the hell would I sell it to him? Hence, you want to sell your gold on eBay to the buyers, not go to the store, a coin store where he's the seller and he doesn't want to pay. He wants to, he'll only give you 92% of spot. It's a fucking ounce of gold. But yet here it doesn't matter. See, then you see something like this, and you go, why is this only $1,000? Now, remember, I'm not in the sold category, but if you look at it, it's got 9 days left. It's an auction. So, of course, it'll get up to 2200. So that is your gold buying. They're all selling around 2150. So now let's look at the silver game. A silver maple leaf, 36.58. I think they sell the same as the U.S. Here's a 1 ounce kangaroo for you, Bobby, 34. Here's an Australian lunar year, 39. Just looking for, all right, here's a maple leaf, 35. So they're all about the same. The Philharmonic, 33. But I think you can get it at the round stage. So let's look at, we're everything but the regular Silver Eagle. All right, here we go. Here's a 1 ounce Eagle dollar that we can get for 35. It's 42, right? That's what we've been buying for $35 at the coin store. And then I want to see the bullion. I think it was just a little bit under that. There's another 1 ounce Eagle 43. So I might run to the store after this because he's still going to 35 because he's still going off a spot. He knows more than we do. This is where I attack the idiot. Here's a tube of 20 is 836. I just bought mine for 700. I've already made $136 and it hasn't even gone up yet. Here you go, $40. I can probably still get it for 35. I mean, I bought 15 of them and that 5 ouncer, right? At 35 a piece. Here you go, Bobby. There's the Barbados, $39. I got to get one of these. These are a trident. I can feel like King Trident being Little Mermaid. All right, so let's try to go to bullion. Oh, here's a cool one for you, Bobby. This triangular one, $33. It's an Australian shipwreck Batavia 1 ounce silver triangle coin. How the fuck are they? It's a triangle, but it's, they're all 33. So now these are being bid at 31 and 26, but the auction, this has 3 days left on it. It's 31 already, and this has 6 days. It's 26. So if you see less of a price on eBay, it's because of the auction. Here it's 39 is best offer. So you can offer them 37. Oh, here's a spider one for you, Bobby, 31. See, there's all kinds of interesting ones. All right, so let's go to the bullion. Now we'll leave. All right. I'm trying to get bullion. I keep getting the regular silver. Well, I'm going to go into the sold because I keep getting these bidded ones, and we want to see where they end. Here's a silver dollar for 39, but again, that's the dollar, not the bullion. Here's one, got $50 for the dollar. I think this is no, that's also the coin. I'm glad I filtered bullion and I can't get bullion. Just a second. Here we go. All right, so this is the bullion one. This is the one that's not the dollar. So the one that says dollar will say dollar on the back. So this one is the bullion. This got 33. We've been buying this for 25, 26. Now it's 33. Now the difference between the bullion and the real dollar is about $5 now. Not sure why there'd be a difference on it. There shouldn't be, but that's okay. We don't mind. We're not worried about nickel dime. And let's see. What the fuck is this? I don't know what it is. There's a lot of 5, which we certainly have for 139. So call it 140 divided by 5 is 40 times 5 is 200. 30 times 5 is 150. Pretty small. Here's an ounce, 1 ounce sold for $60. So you can see where it's heading. I don't want to, we don't need to see every auction, but you can see where the auctions are going. And you can see the final outcome on these where avocado time. It's 12:30. I can eat now. So you can see where it's headed, and you can see the final. If you go on eBay, all of them get the same amount, right? Within 10 or 20 bucks. Cool Grand 21.30, Maple Leaf 21.45, US 21.55, and the Buffalo US is like 21.60. I'm not sure why there's a discrepancy, because you're buying an ounce of gold, but right now people don't know. So now it's more of a supply demand. Well, I really like the Eagle, or I trust the US dollar, and so I'm going to buy that. Okay, that's fine. But really, they're all the same. When it hits 20,000, it'll be 20. They'll all be very close to the same price. So when I show you the YouTube and the guy says we're out of silver, he's lying. They're not out of silver. You'll always be able to get them on eBay, because as the price goes up, people will sell them. I'm making money because people are buying them for the wrong reason. This is not a stock. This is not something I own for 5 minutes. Now, once we start making serious shit on this, you're only going to sell it when you need money. Gold hits 20,000 an ounce. Are you going to sell it at 20,000? Only if you need the money. If you have bills to pay, the kid's going to college, the hospital bill, something that's critical. And be careful. Most of the bills are going to go away because the currency is going to go away. So what happens when the currency goes away? You got a medical bill, you owe the IRS, you owe the credit card, you owe your car payment, you owe your mortgage. The dollar's gone. How do you pay it? I can't use dollars anymore. So I'm curious to see what happens. Are we going to not have to pay it because that, and then we have to get rid of our cash? So we switch it into the new currency, the new monopoly money. So when this goes away, all those bills go away because you don't have money to pay for them anymore. Excuse me. You don't have money to pay for them anymore, so does your credit card go to zero. Or do you take this, you got 20 grand in your safe and you go, okay, I'm going to take the 20 grand and I'm going to switch it for the new currency and put that in my safe. The banks are just a total scam. I was watching Alistair McLeod last night and again this morning, because you got to watch it twice just to make sure I get everything for the class. And he's just explaining the way banks, everything's a credit. It's all credit now. It's not really like money and the bank has your money. It's all credit. So we're just living in a credit society. And everybody's loaned that nobody has money. They just use credit cards and they pay, and the government takes credit and they use that. And that's why they're in debt, $31 trillion. And anyway, so let's go to the boys. So number 117 of Andrew Maguire, good as gold. There's so much in here. It's unbelievable. So we're going to start with him.
These are important banks. These banks fail. That did happen, as a matter of fact. And then last episode, just 2 weeks ago, you drew our attention to some fresh new bullish drivers for this quarter. Can you update us and update our subscribers on these bullish drivers?
The changing world order.
New bullish drivers for this quarter. Can you update us and update our subscribers on these bullish drivers?
Yeah, Shane, it's great to be with everyone, yourself, and this whole community. Look, as we know, our focus is really on how this rapidly unfolding geopolitical event, this is unprecedented, how this is going to translate into a gold and a silver price reset. So with that in mind, let's add to what we observed in our last episode, where we looked at the real reason for President Xi's visit with Putin in Moscow and how this pivotal meeting cemented both a military and a financial alliance, which is really going to significantly accelerate the de-dollarization process. And given that gold is inversely but bullishly correlated to the dollar, how this is going to impact the all-important physical gold market, which is really what we focus on. And as we previously discussed, opting out of the hegemonic dollar-based system requires opting in to a sufficiently liquid alternative medium of exchange. Now, physical gold, once again, once it's actually delivered into the hands of the receiver, it's the only global currency that has zero counterparty risk, and it is in infinitely fungible, which is another very important point we talked about with Dr. Stephen Lee last time. It has to be fungible sufficiently to provide a liquid solution to be able to opt out.
Okay, what fungible means is everything is the same and replaceable. So the gold, it's replaceable. That's what fungible means. And you can see how he's now talking physical versus paper, which is what we always talk about. That's why I get so frustrated with a lot of these people, is they're still talking COMEX. Look what COMEX did in 2008. Look what COMEX, and it's all bullshit because it's not real. It's not a real supply demand, as he's going to talk about. So just a second, and we'll get back to Andrew Maguire. So you can see what he's talking about is getting to physical gold, and they're going to reset it.
Of the dollar and into a gold-backed solution. However, as physical gold, and you can read silver into this too, Shane, I know you want to, as they get readopted in an eminently fungible global settlement currency, it'll shake off its paper wrappers and be revalued at a much higher price that is presently baked into gold's dollar-denominated supply-demand price. which is what.
So what's he saying? It's going to get revalued much higher. Just for you, Bobby, Nick, all my guys that are wondering when. So what's he saying? It's going to not be in derivative paper anymore. It's about to go physical. It's going to go to the physical price, which he says later on, nobody knows. So nobody knows what the real physical price of gold is, but it's much, much higher than the derivative price. Which is why I'm showing you eBay to get you into what's happening on eBay, right? So you can see if demand is up, price goes up. So in the paper world, you can see the price going up $21.50, $21.50 for an ounce. Well, you can't charge $21.50 if there's no demand for it. Demand's high. They're all selling $21.50. The Cougaran, Maple Leaf, the Dollar, the Philharmonic, everything you can see. And it can only go up if there's demand, which there is. And the price is not nearly where the demand really is, which to me, that's why I come out with the higher prices, 40, 50,000. Now, yes, that's a guess, a conservative one. I think they'll be much higher based on my logic, my little psychic ability, the way I pick games, the way I feel, looking at all the $10 trillion going out. Hey, Greg and John, what's going on? Long time no see. Talking gold and silver right now. It's about to go through the roof, and I hope you're off the Titanic and on the gold ship, because here it goes. I know people go, when's it going? Well, it's a matter of a few months. It's the ship's leaving the harbor. How you been, Greg and John? You okay? My team UConn won. Wish I bet them every game. Yeah, I remember you telling me about UConn. Good for you. I'm happy for you. I hope you made a lot of money on it. And then we'll get you. Then we'll pick the NBA playoffs. Too bad UConn doesn't have who's your NBA team? I hope you bet them in the finals. I mean, the last few games you could have won easy money on them. Anyway, good for you. I'm glad you hit it. There you go. You're picking up my analytical tips on picking teams. They look good. So anyway, back to Andrew.
We're seeing a bit of a ramp today, but this is nothing to what we're going to see. And as we drew attention to the ability of the Sino-Russian alliance to access a potential aggregated 60,000 tons of physical gold reserves, it provides this unfactored, unpriced opt-in solution. And if anyone missed that episode 2 weeks ago, where we kind of dug into how that 60,000 tons may actually be available. Now let's first deal with the military side of this, as it is actually the driver that is accelerating the process. So not to forget, our focus here is on the impact these escalations will have on gold, and to also draw attention to just how underpriced physical gold and related silver is as this process rapidly unfolds. We're watching history in the making here, guys. People will look back at this. This is unprecedented. And directly following Xi's meeting with Putin, which, if you recall, was concluding just as we recorded the last episode. It was on that Wednesday. They were just winding it up then. But since then, Secretary of Defense Lloyd Austin and Chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, that was Mark Milley, he told Congress at the Pentagon's 2024 budget request, which was really almost concurrent with that, he said it would help the country to prepare for a future war with China. Those are his words. And Milley said that China's actions are moving it down a path towards confrontation and potential conflict with its neighbors and possibly the United States. Those, again, are his words. Clearly referring to Taiwan here. and increasingly, these increasingly dangerous confrontations in the South China Seas. Now, his comments really echo similar warnings made by Chinese officials. Now, this rhetoric is really ramping up. You can't ignore this stuff. Chinese Foreign Minister Qin Zhang immediately countered these statements, stating that if the US doesn't change its course on the military buildup in the Asia Pacific and the other policies aimed at China, it will lead to, his words, conflict and confrontation. I mean, look, come on. You know, how many times do we want to hear this? This saber rattling is morphing into action points between two nuclear powers. You know, we get sort of so sidetracked. You know, it's just more words. This is not words. But this is the most important thing that we assessed last time. Yeah, this is dangerous. But because each of these, there's three basically globally interconnected nuclear superpowers here, the US, Russia, China. And each of them have got the ability to eradicate each other and us overnight. So ultimately, restraint will have to be exercised because it's going to blow back on them too. So this means that the nuclear option will be played out in the financial markets. And the stronger hand lays with actually the 2/3 of the globe that are divesting dollars as fast as they can to hedge against this growing risk and to ultimately fully divest unipolar US military and financial hegemony. Now, hegemony is obviously, it's not just financial. And while Russia, like red lines, are now being pushed in China's direction, China's readying itself for an inevitable deep state pushback, and is actively seeking to insulate itself from the only tool, well, one of the few tools left in the deep state's hegemonic war measures toolbox, which is sanctions. So possibly freezing, maybe seizing Chinese assets. And with the Russia dollar weaponization lessons learned very recently, China is setting up dollar hedges.
All right, now, Andrew, you just talked about certain measures.
All right, so what's he saying? He's saying that don't worry about a nuclear war because they're not going to do it because we'll nuke them, they nuke us, nobody wins. Like War Games, that movie. Which leaves them the option of gold. So they're going to play war games with gold and not with nuclear weapons. I know people are afraid of nukes or whatever. And that's also going to make the value of the gold go through the fucking roof. Now, this is all happening now, not in 5 years. Yet some people have said, oh, when's it going to be? 10 years from now? No, this is in a few months. So what are we at? We just hit April, May, June, July. Let's say by August, all the shit's hitting the fan. Gold will be way, way higher. Silver will be right with it. This war is all, I don't know. It's the reason the U.S. wants the war is because they don't want them to have a gold standard because then we lose the dollar. But they're already losing the dollar. So it really doesn't matter. There's no, it's sort of like, the bully, threatening and nobody cares. And that's what's happening. The U.S. is threatening and they're going, fuck you, we got gold. And that's what's happening. There's another reason gold's going to go through the roof. And this war is not going to be about nukes. It's going to be about dollars. All right. So just want to catch you as we go. This is a fantastic video. Number 117. This is the third time I'm going through this, and I'm trying to mark like, okay, at the 7-minute mark, all these marks, and he just has such valuable things. So let's keep going.
China was taken to insulate itself from Russia, like the sanctions being imposed on it. And I know you have some very good lines of communication open worldwide and even on this side of the globe. Can you tell us what you're seeing?
Yeah, Shane, the pieces of the jigsaw are really rapidly being assembled, and the timings are just not coincidental. Now, we have the Belt and Road Initiative now opens up the Central Asian corridor. Now that provides sanction-proof overland connectivity between Iran, Turkey, and China, allowing Russian and the anticipated upcoming China sanctions to be largely sidestepped. Now, the linking of these multipolar powers streamlines this process and allows China and Russia to play a very much stronger hand. So, with the multipolar land bridge now opened and aware that the actionable red lines are being approached, China is looking to step up de-dollarizing as quickly as possible. But to do so requires an alternative currency, which is what we're talking about. Hence, the first port of call for Xi was to, after he was re-elected, was to ramp up this process with Russia with a view to rapidly accelerate the implementation of an already designed multipolar-backed gold commodities-based currency, bypassing the US dollar, but liquid enough to service the EAEU, the Shanghai Cooperation Organization, the BRICS Plus alliances, for them to adopt the same gold-backed currency design. Now, obviously, it has to be one design to fit all. So this is the most interesting part of it.
Now, Andrew, we've been saying for years now that these are historic times, but the speed that this is all unfolding is quite amazing. How long do you expect this process to take?
Yeah, Shane, look, I mean, kind of looking at the velocity of this, this move out of the dollar following the Xi-Putin meetings, originally the BRICS Plus move to de-dollarize was projected. I mean, people were talking about it saying, oh, don't worry, it's going to take 5 years, 7 years to gain sufficient traction to really significantly impact the dollar trade. But following the Russia tokenizing physical gold on the peer-to-peer Stellar blockchain at the open of New Year trading, you remember we talked about this was mind-blowing. And following Xi's re-election and his fresh mandate to prepare his citizens for war, and we talked about that in our last episode, those are his statements. And so really out of necessity, these war measures see this timeline severely contracting. Now, our extremely well-connected liquidity providers from this side and that side confirm that the Sino-Russia alliance have sufficient aggregated physical gold reserves to ultimately tokenize the multi-billion-dollar energy and commodity sector, and assisted by a resulting significantly much higher physically settled supply and demand gold price. Now, it's estimated that the timeline to de-dollarize and will significantly contract to a pivotal inflection point. Look, guys, in a matter of months, not years. And I know that sounds mind-blowing, but we've got some statements here to read out, which are in a little while. But
so what's he saying? That the gold, they're going to have gold standards in months, not years. That's what I just said. And so when I tell you to buy it now or soon, you can see what's happening. And you have months, not years, to buy your gold, to buy your silver at these prices if you can find it. And the central banks keep buying the gold. But the difference is they buy the gold bars. So where I'm at, I'm buying gold, from the coin store. He's getting them from people who need money. He's not really getting them from, the mints anymore. So some guy comes in with some Cougarans, I need money, he gives him money, rips them off, and then I'd buy it $70 over spot, which I don't care because I know spot's so cheap. But that's why I keep I don't like the term stacker. It sounds really weird. Like I don't stack baseball cards, I collect them. So let's say I collect the gold and silver. So I'm collecting them. And it's just a matter of I really don't care what I paid for it. I just keep buying them. As the price goes up, I might buy more quarters and halves if I even see them, which I like the last few times I've been there, I've only seen ounces, but I haven't seen quarters and halves. And now it's 21 something to buy the gold ounce, although I can buy the Cougaran a little bit cheaper. The silver I'm expecting to be 29 because the spot's 25. Maybe it goes to 30. I'm not sure what the Eagle. If the Eagle's still 35, I'd buy the Eagle now. You can see on eBay there's just a few dollar difference, so it's not a big deal if you buy the bullion or the Liberty. It's an ounce of silver is an ounce of silver, and it's all going to go. Sure, it's like the Jordan card I show you. Some are worth 200, some are worth 250, depending on the company. And I think that's how gold and silver are, depending if it's U.S. or Cougaran or Maple Leaf. They're a little bit different in price, but at the end of the day, as you're buying a Jordan, you're buying gold or you're buying silver. So keep in mind, so this is going now. I know I've been saying this for the last 2 years after watching Biden come in and the inflation and the printing of the money. That's really been the key to me buying the gold and silver and getting you out of the stock market and not buying a house now. So Nick and Bobby, don't buy your house yet. Wait a few more months and let the gold and silver run, and then you can buy it with the gold and silver. And as people are going to need money because the currency's collapsing, then the price will drop. Why do you want to buy a house for 500 grand that you can get for 200 grand? You won't even need 200 grand. You'll need an ounce of gold with it. So that's what I'm saying. Just be patient a little bit longer, and then you go buy your houses. Bobby, if you're looking to sell your house, if you can get it now, sell it. But it's going to drop in value as the shit's hitting the fan. So keep that in mind. The stock market will crash. So just get out of the Titanic, as I'm saying. And now the gold boat's starting to move. So the more assets you can get out of fiat and put into gold, do it. Get your money out of the bank because the banking system is still shit. Off you go. I don't know. Again, I don't know how the central bank digital currency will ever work, and it's a long time away. To enslave us and make us with the government and be allocated and that. I think that's all bullshit. I don't see how that can possibly work. I mean, you got to get rid of all the companies so they don't hire anybody, so nobody makes money. Guess what happens? The government falls. If there's no money in the system, there's no government. So who's gonna run us without a government? That's the fly in the ointment. Okay, let's go back.
Which just really tell you that this is actually getting really serious. Now, with this in mind, late last week, unable to continue ignoring the elephant in the room, we evidenced several mainstream media reports waking up to the implications of a faster than estimated move out of the dollar into alternative multipolar commodity trade settling solutions. And now, while most of the mainstream media reports, it was probably best summed up in a Financial Times article because pretty much summed up what everyone else was saying, they're really trying to play down Putin's pledge to adopt the yuan renminbi for what Putin calls payments between Russia, Asia, Africa, and Latin America in a bid to displace the dollar. And they quote this in their articles. However, what's not factored into similarly constructed Bloomberg, Reuters reports is that the scope of this currency adoption is on a scale not yet realized by the mainstream analysts who really try to psyop and toe the line of the immediacy of this de-dollarization process. So, it's a bit like saying the banking system's broken. Well, they're not going to say it, are they? None of the analysts report, none of these reports factor in the fact that the renminbi, to be liquid enough to absorb an even larger percentage of global commodity and energy settlement flows, that the underlying yuan underpinning the offshore renminbi is going to be largely backed by physical gold. Not one of these reports even goes there, nor do they factor in that commodities increasingly priced upon a significantly higher dollar-denominated gold price will have massive inflationary implications for commodities priced and bought denominated in fast depreciating Western fiat currencies, dollar, pound, euro, you name it. Now, when considering this gold-backed currency will ultimately have to provide adequate liquidity to accommodate the lion's share of the 7,500 billion per annum global oil and gas markets, as well as, in addition, the 5,000 billion per annum commodity and energy sectors, then the scale of this potential gold adoption becomes absolutely clear. And that the gold benchmarked in dollars, that any gold right now benchmarked in dollars will have to revalue at multiples of today's paper diluted dollar capped price. So looking at this.
So, do we all understand what he just said? Because they want to get off the US dollar, the BRICS countries, Latin America, Asia, Europe, Russia, China, Latin America, have to pay for all the energy. And if they're coming out with a dollar backed by gold, which is what he said they're doing, and they're very quickly doing it, the revaluation of gold and silver is going to go through the roof. I doubt 50,000 is really going to be the answer. I believe it's going to be much, much higher than that. You'll never see $2,000 again once this gets cooking in very short time. You'll have to add at least 2 zeros to the 2,000. Minimum of 50,000, more than likely 100,000. And then when the dollar goes out, not a worry. You'll have the new dollar, or you'll have gold. We'll be in Rome. We'll be in the old Roman Empire, where they just had gold and silver. That was how they traded. We'll either do that, or we'll have these currencies, and it'll be so expensive that, where do you want to live? Here's an ounce. You don't even need an ounce. Here's a half ounce of gold for your house. You buy the house. I can probably go to the Ukraine once the war ends, or Portugal or Spain, and here's a quarter ounce of gold for your house, and and that's it. So that's kind of what he's talking, because of all this energy needs and everything else. That's what's happening. So it's going to be huge. So the point is, just get the gold and silver now as much as you can. The more gold, the better. If you can't afford it, you get the more silver, the better. It doesn't matter, as I showed you, if you buy the Liberty $1 actual coin, or you buy the bullion that just says 1 ounce of silver pure. Either one will do. You can see there's very little difference in the price. Little bit difference now for the dollar, but it's the dollar. People think they need it, but at the end of the day, all you want is 1 ounce of silver, 1 ounce of gold. Now, the difference in gold, there's not as much bullion. I think the bars are bullion. So if you bought a 1 ounce bar, I think I have a quarter ounce bar, Credit Suisse. But if you buy the coins, there's really no difference between the Cougaran, the Maple Leaf, the Philharmonic, and the US. They're pretty much all the same. It's pretty much 1 ounce of gold. It's really, you get into a little more supply demand, and the demand for the US for some reason is a little bit more than the Cougaran and the Maple Leaf, but not worth, not anything big. And you can see that on eBay. So just check your eBay. So this is what he's saying. And please ask questions as you go here if you don't understand it. But it's just, for our world, we're in the gold silver world, where the Titanic is sunk. So this is sunk, right? That's it. The lights are off, and DiCaprio is hanging on to the door now. So they're on the door. Okay, that's where they're at. The gold ship is leaving the dock very, very soon. JP Morgan's going to go broke with these derivatives because there's no hope. And they're just, as he's saying, they're stair stepping up where you would see 1800, then you saw 1900. Now you're probably going to see 1950 is the bottom, and then it goes to 2050. And silver, what he said is you'll see silver 26, and then once it hits 26, it goes to 35. So when you look at COMEX, it's going to be 35, not 26, very, very soon. So that's why you need to buy your silver now when it's still at 20. It's at 25 now, so you can probably get it for 29. Keep that in mind. That's what you're buying your silver for, is about 29. Don't forget that. So what you want to do is that's 29, but soon it's going to be 35. So then it's going to be 40 with the new, because apparently he can read the steps. So he sees 24, then he sees 26, and once it between 26, there's nothing to stop until 35, and nobody's betting against it. And so if you want to buy more silver, you better buy it now, because then it's going to be $39, $40 an ounce, and then it's going to get a little interesting because people are going to start going, "What the fuck? Here goes silver." So buy it now. Still get it for 29, 30. Probably the Eagles still at 35. I think I'm going to run after our class. It's open till I think 3:00 today, just to get another 10 ounces, just because it's a no-brainer. I mean, I'm betting on a football game that I know the score is going to be 36 in the fourth quarter. I mean, this is insane. So take advantage of it. I don't know what you're worried about. You can't stay on the Titanic. That's my point. This is gone. So what are you worried about? You stay in this, you're gone. There is no way this is coming back. This is gone. The best they're going to do is come out with a new currency, and then you'll trade this currency for that, and maybe 70, 80 cents on the dollar. So your $100 buys you 70 of the new currency. But if you turn it into silver, you haven't spent a nickel, and you bought something that's going up in value versus something that isn't. So that's my point. You have to, I think you're at the deadline here very, very soon of getting your silver at the $29, $30 range, because it goes from 26 to 35. Then you'll be paying $4 or $5 over, and when that move happens, you might not see any more at that price. You'll have to go to eBay and buy it for, I don't know, $50, $60. So eBay's always an out. You can always go to eBay and buy your silver and gold a little bit higher, but it'll always be on there. So you don't necessarily need JM Bullion, or I don't need the coin store. I just get the coin store because it's simple. I get it. I don't care if it's $1 less or more. I go in, buy it, and take it home with me. So I don't need to bullshit with eBay and bullshit with all the other stuff. I just go get it, go home, I got it. And that's kind of what I do. So now I'm getting that. I think I need to go buy 10 more ounces. Meeting Jenna this week. We go to Spain on Thursday. So I know I need silver for her. Not that I don't already have, but I might as well pick up more before it hits 35, and now it's $40 an ounce. So just why not buy it cheaper? We know it's going up. It's not maybe, we know the score of Kansas City's game against Cincinnati is going to be 23-20. We know that's the score. Go buy the fucking silver now, because you know it's going to 36 an ounce. And I'll get to that. He'll explain it.
We looked at the potential, but the entirely realistic 60,000 ton pool of physical gold available to ultimately back such a gold-backed commodity currency. This is being ignored completely by any of the mainstream. While the massive bearish dollar pivot will not be escaping the attention of the extremely wrong-footed deep state hegemony ringmasters seeking to protect US dollar hegemony, the option of countering this attack on the dollar's reserve status by risking triggering an unthinkable nuclear war would just again, that would blow back against them. So snookered, and they are, this likely leaves deep state very few options. So, this is a lot of stuff we talk about with the liquidity providers and well-connected people. Doubling down on the current in-play attempts to break the back of us 1.8 billion NATO members, these economies, well, they're trying to double down and break them faster, so that obviously you have to break it so they can continue to try and fulfill their World Economic Forum mandate to build back better. You hear them, Biden talking about it, everyone talking about it. This is something they cannot do once dollar hegemony is undermined. So they're scrambling. This is what we're seeing. We're seeing these strange laws and sort of moves, woke sort of moves coming in, and they defy logic. So there's a reason for this, because in order to build back better, you've got to break something. Now, the ill thought through Russia sanctions have already severely blown back on the deep state's objectives. So by weaponizing the dollar, it inadvertently forced the acceleration of the de-dollarization process, and in turn eroding the bandwidth to be able to complete these WEF unipolar objectives, risking blowing this plan's timeline out of the water. Now, the narrow old guard thinking completely discounts the velocity of 3.8 billion SCO members, and not to forget, that is also a military alliance bolstered by 1.5 billion African state members. None of these people are interested in or have the luxury of indulging in pampered, woke ideologies. Look, everyone's too busy working. They find it far better to cooperate with each other, even if they were traditionally enemies. Far better to cooperate in order to build themselves better lives within a far more equitable, multipolar world.
Bobby.
All of which is increasingly leaving the
No,
US.
this is Andrew McGuire.
Sanctioning China is only going to accelerate
in a few weeks.
Process. So
36.
Into this process, the Sino-Russia Trojan horse is actually hidden in full sight. Over the last few weeks, we've evidenced an increasing adoption of the alternative PBOC-backed cross-border payment system, which is the CIPS system. Not much talked about. China launched the CIPS, goodness me, it was back in 2015, and it was really to internationalize yuan use. This is long-term thinking. And it readied itself for moments like this. It allows global banks to clear cross-border yuan transactions directly onshore instead of through the clearing banks in offshore yuan hubs. So, and interestingly, CPIS also counts several foreign banks in there. Shareholders, HSBC, Standard Chartered, Bank of East Asia, DBS Bank, Citi, Australia, New Zealand banking groups, BNP Paribas, they're all part of this, a party to these transactions. So this is interesting stuff. So the Russian equivalent, which is the SPFS, that's the alternative, the Russian alternative to SWIFT, also connects to CIPS. Start to think about these connections. And up until very recently, CPIS is under the radar, and it's because it's largely connected domestic Chinese payment systems with one another. But by no coincidence, following Xi's meeting with Putin, we now see an increasing adoption of the payment messaging system by BRICS plus countries. And if we just name...
All right, just a second. Let me answer Bobby's. You got to watch the first 10 minutes of the show, Bobby. Let me go back to it. Okay,
that
this
did
will
happen,
answer your
as a matter
question.
of fact. And then last episode, just 2 weeks ago, you drew our attention to some.
No, I'm not
fresh
selling
bullish
anything at
drivers
36.
for this quarter. Can you update us and update our subscribers on these bullish drivers?
Yeah, Shane, it's great to be with everyone, yourself, and this whole community. Look, as we know, our focus is really on how this rapidly unfolding geopolitical event, this is unprecedented, how this is going to translate into a gold and a silver price reset. So with that in mind, let's add to what we observed in our last episode, where we looked at the real reason for.
So he's saying price reset, which means much, much higher. And what he's saying is there's little steps where, like, we keep seeing silver go back to 20 or 22, and then it goes up. What he's saying in COMEX, it's at 25 now, right? And it's going to go to 26. And it's going to stay there. And then once it goes from 26, it's going to go, I believe, to 36, 35 or 36. There's nothing between 26 and 36. That's where COMEX is headed. That's COMEX, which he's saying is paper. So watch the first half hour of it, of my class, and you'll see what he's saying. He's expecting it to go way, way, way higher, as I've been saying. So what I'm saying is you better buy your silver now. I'm going to go, I got till 3:00 and buy some more he'll be 25 an ounce. So he'll be selling it for 29, 30, or I'll buy the Eagle for 35. But what I'm saying is shortly it's going to be 36 an ounce and you're going to be paying 41, 42 for your silver, not 28, 29 anymore on its way up. All we care about is collecting more silver, more gold. That's what we want to do. So what I'm saying is, and what he's saying is, the next stop after 26 is 30. I think maybe it's 32 or 35 or something like that. He'll tell us when we get there. That's really the point of what he's saying, that we can't go to a nuclear war, right? We're fucking with Russia and China. Well, we're not going to go to a nuclear war, so we're going to go. It's going to be the currency that's going to be the war. So it's going to be a gold war versus the U.S. war. So with that said, gold and silver are going to be so high, you'll never see 36 in your life again, Bobby. And then the beginning of the show, I walked us through eBay, and I could see all the gold being sold was all about $21.50 an ounce, right? The U.S. dollar, the Maple Leaf, the Cougaran, the Philharmonic, all roughly gapped in between $21.35 and $21.50. A little bit more for the U.S. for some reason. To me, it's an ounce of gold, but everything was right there. So it's not like 92% from the stupid coin store. He can fuck himself. Give me 92% for a Cougaran. I'll go sell it for $150 more on eBay. So eBay is going to be our sell trigger more than likely, unless it's just an emergency and we got to go to the coin store. Silver, the same thing. The Eagles are now about $40 on eBay, and the bullion, the non-dollar, but they're still like the Liberties that say 1 ounce of silver, are like $32, $33, which is what I expect to pay when I go later. If he has any, it'll be 4 or 5 over. So I figure $30 is what I'll pay for them, and probably still 35, maybe 37 for the actual dollar. And I bought 15 of the actual dollar last time, so I'll probably buy bullion just to buy it. I'm meeting Jenna. I'll probably buy 10 just to give it to her as a gift. Not, I don't know what I need, but I know I will never see these. You'll never see it at 29 again. It's this is the title. The gold boat is leaving the dock is the title, and this is why. And the Titanic is there, DiCaprio's holding on to the wooden door now. So the boat's basically in the water. It's tipped, it's went, boom, they're in the water. That's where it is. It is gone. And here comes the gold boat. So you get on the gold boat real quick, and the silver boat, because it's about to leave port. And you don't want to miss that boat. You miss the boat, you're fucked. So the coin store will give you only 92 on a Cougaran. It'll give me, I think, the full amount on the Eagle, but not, and then 95 or 96% on the Maple Leaf. And I told him to fuck himself. sell them on eBay, or I can check with what Ann Arbor's doing. But why would I? See, now he must be losing money because he's a fucking idiot and he didn't listen to me. So now he's like trying to make up money by saying, "Oh, I'll give 92% on the Cougar and sell it, over spot." So let's say it's 2,000. So he'll give you what? Let's say 1,900, but he wants to sell it for 2,100. Oh yeah, he makes $5 a thing. What a bunch of crap. I don't sense what he's trying to do. What he's trying to do is fuck the people that need to sell. You need to sell because you need the money. I'm only going to give you 92% for your Cougaran. So if gold's 2,000 for the spot, you should be getting 2,000. It's an ounce of gold, but he's only giving them let's say 1,900. So and then he sells it. He doesn't sell it for 1,900. Doesn't sell it for 2,000. Selling it for let's say 2,070. So he's making $170. He's taking advantage of the people that have to sell. And that's where we need to create a business to say, we'll give you 100% spot and not let these guys fuck you. So you send me your Cougaran, the spot's 2,007 right now. I'll give you 2,007. And then I can go sell it on eBay for $2,130. So I can still make $130 on it, and you don't get fucked, only getting $1,950. You're going to get the full 2,007. That's A. B, we know spot's going to go way higher, as Andrew McGuire is saying. What that you're eating? No, this is honeydew. This is a slice of honeydew I was eating, and I had my avocado. That's what I was eating because it's 12 o'clock and I can eat. Now it's 1:30. So I'm going through Andrew McGuire now. Alistair McLean had one out yesterday. It's a little technical. I'm not really going to do much on it, but what he's saying, the guy asked him at the end, and I will show you the end. All right, let's get back to this. Let's see.
The price they want to play the paper game, there is the right to take delivery. That's what's happening. And this will serve to cement a significantly higher stair step into what is always an obligatory non-farm payrolls gaming. What are we doing? We're doing what all the other guys are doing. We're holding all our positions. Long-term, long and strong, very short-term. Well, yeah, there's expected to be some opportunities to add gold and silver into. There's bound to be attempts to contain last week's 2,000.
Yeah, I mean, it's common, like cantaloupe and everything.
Breached now.
Sweet.
Here. So great. If they can't
You'll like
contain that, we're going to get a higher stair step. So this is. So in gold, that's 2,000. In silver, they were trying to cap 2,400, just getting through now, breaking through again. They've been really. It's about we've had China on holiday until Wednesday night. So we've also had illiquid conditions. So you've got the usual gaming going on. So, but once 24 breaches and holds, then these derivative resistance levels, which are just paper positions, opens up very large short stops. In other words, these are the bets where you need to unwind these bets against those prices being breached. And they're just above these levels. So we've got a really explosive situation here on our hands. So very short term for gold. And as we assessed last time, we've got this T+2 spot demand being crystallized at every single Basel III compliant PM fix. And it's forcing market-making bullion banks and the liquidity providers to hedge this constantly rolling physical delivery exposure. It relentlessly comes in. So whatever price they want to play the paper game, there is the right to take delivery. That's what's happening. And this will serve to cement a significantly higher stair step into what is always an obligatory non-farm payrolls gaming on Friday. Well, maybe they capitulate and don't do it this time. But in all of history, they've always played a paper game. into non-farm payrolls. In fact, many central banks and sovereigns sit back and large buyers will just wait back and let it play out because we'll be there. But maybe not. Maybe the first-year banks are really concerned this time because they're exposed to, this is the first year they've been exposed to Basel III delivery requirements. So drilling down under the smoke and mirrors market action, we continue to evidence the bullish paper market footprints. And this will mean something for the options traders that follow us. And I'm sorry, everyone else, I'll keep it brief. Options, I know we don't want to talk about it, but when we saw the April gold contract, this is important for I'm sure a lot of the professional traders would know this. But it's interesting. But when we saw this contract, the April gold contract, which just expired and is now in delivery, move into delivery a few days ago, despite a significantly call put options imbalance, where in other words, we had 120 tons of expiring paper gold contracts converted into a delivery contract versus just 8 tons choosing to deliver this non-delivery paper structure. It raised a red flag, especially as JP Morgan, the agent bank, alone, this is an agent bank who alone controls, just sells well over 50% of the Western metals markets, paper, gold, and silver derivative positions. So historically, what do we expect? Because this is not real bullion, it would ordinarily have indicated downside, deliberately disruptive air pockets. In other words, you're a market maker, you can pull your bids and you can create an air pocket. And you know where the stops are for the speculators. You know that they're long and they have a margin position and they've borrowed this position and you can usually take them out. But we saw that in both gold and silver. But in this case, when weighed up against the extremely tight, strong demand delivery market, which the same insiders are exposed to, we really kind of anticipated this time that any big pulling rollover gaming would be limited to the very few non-sticky speculators. In other words, the rinsable speculators, not the sticky ones that are not moving anywhere. And that means it would be relatively shallow. It was. And it's a really good sign that the paper market is struggling to contain a very much more physically driven market. So this change in behavior looks to be playing out into a very strong physical demand market, but we do expect some participants to be sitting on the sidelines into this holiday shortened week. So, want to know short term, non-farm payroll comes in on a US market holiday. There's going to be no...
So what he's saying is they are blowing up COMEX, which how excited are we to hear that? That's what's been killing our gold and silver price, right? COMEX, derivatives, the paper gold, the paper silver. And that when we go, why isn't the price going up? There's huge demand. There's huge inflation. Russia, China, what the fuck's going on? Why is silver still at 24? And he's saying it's blowing up and it's all going physical. And once it hits physical, that's when we see 2,000-3,000 an ounce silver and 50,000 an ounce or more gold. Gold's going to go so high, it's a joke. So, Bobby, that's what you're waiting for, and we all are, is this finally to blow the fuck up. And then let's get to the physical, which I always do, is this is fucking physical, not paper, right? This is $50 a bottle, maybe it's $60 a bottle. It's physical. I pay for it. I get the whiskey. Not I pay for the gold and silver derivatives and I don't get shit. So it's about to blow up. And then the other good news I heard was, you know how everybody's so scared of the central bank digital currency? We got to drive electric and we got to be slaves to the Nazis, Soros and Schwab and those guys. Well, they're getting fucked because of the gold. They can only control it in a paper currency where they come on. Here comes gold. I'm back. Here comes gold. They can't fuck with it. They can't print it. They can't stop it. They can't put central bank digital currency on gold. And so not only is gold going to go through the roof, but it fucks the whole plans of these Nazis to control us and CBDC us. And you got to drive an electric car and you won't be able to use gas. And you got to, you can only go out on Mondays and Tuesdays and all this bullshit that everybody's talking. Again, it sounds like shit. But to actually implement it, thank God for the Russians and Chinese. If you ever wanted to thank God for the communists, here you go, because them going to gold and attacking the U.S. there's two different things now. There's the BRICS countries and the U.S. There goes one world government. There goes one world currency, because you don't have one world. And I don't think the BRICS are even one. I think you got Russia over here saying, fuck you, we'll do what we want. And saying, fuck you, we'll do what we want. India's over here. Saudi Arabia's like, we got all the oil. Africa's over here. It's just, you cannot control everybody. It's never going to happen. So the gold fucks up the Soros. Let's put everybody in concentration camps. So that's a relief. I don't think there'll be central bank. We'll just go buy gold. We'll buy BRICS. We'll take our money and buy the BRICS gold. That's why you got to buy gold now, so you can afford the BRICS gold when it goes through the roof. That's really the key. That's your survival. Hi, Kenzie. I'm showing a YouTube on gold and silver. When I get some of these guys, instead of trying to explain it, I let them talk and then I explain what they're saying. But this way you get right from the horse's mouth. So that's what I'm doing. So let's get back to Andrew McGuire.
Or silver fixes, no gold or silver fixes from Thursday onwards. So you've got Friday's a holiday, Monday's a holiday in the UK too. So you're going to have no fixes. So it's going to be a liquid. So could this offer an opportunity to add some more and take some more off the cartel? And if you are a stacker, who cares? It's cheap already compared to the real price of gold and silver, which nobody knows that price. Whoever you are, you don't know that price. Sticky specs, that is the ones that you cannot rinse, with a longer term view, had already rolled their April contracts. They weren't going to take delivery, but they just want to ride the price, or it's a hedged position to a risk position. These contracts are locked in. They rolled into the June contract, which now everyone has rolled into, well before delivery, and what they're doing is looking for much higher prices, while the remaining delivery open interest, in other words, what has yet to be delivered, is largely in the hands of the market-making insiders exposed to this T+2 NSFR compliance spot delivery overhang. So we will continue to expect 1950 to provide very strong support, and it already did this week into Monday when we saw this crosses being roiled. And while we always expect volatility around the round numbers, 24, 25, 26, in silver, 2000 in gold, whatever, we see the option sweet spot aggregating higher to 2050 now. Now that is like much higher than it was. It's about $100 higher than it was just last month. Now as this settles in, the next central bank supported stair step comes in. And then if it is, watch out above.
Inflation is out of control. Cryptocurrencies are failing, and the stock market is as volatile as it's ever been.
Yeah.
Stair step comes in. And then if it is, watch out above.
Wow, this has been a big episode with a lot of chaos that you're untangling here, Andrew, but I just can't let you go before you take a deeper look at what's happening at my favorite topic, which is, of course, silver. And to all the silver stackers out there, you want to listen to this very carefully. Over to you, Andy.
Yeah, we love silver, don't we? Yes, Shane, I know you do. I mean, and there's never a day that goes by where we don't talk about silver. But yeah, notably, really, silver has been acting relatively better than the current in-delivery gold contract, futures contract. And what that reflects is an extreme, and I mean extreme in capitals, silver wholesale market tightness, and that confluences with very depleted COMEX open interest. So in other words, the what is registered and able to be delivered in the COMEX is far too little to be delivered is really constraining insiders' sell efforts as they're forced to adjust their bearish derivative bets higher, because you don't want to open up the back door for somebody to come in and take it off you. So silver is expected to continue to outperform gold into what is really an insider move to unwind the ratio trade. And if you remember what the ratio trade is, simply where you're basically, we've seen the amount of ounces of silver it's taken to buy an ounce of gold should be 11, 12, maybe 16 to 1. It's been up to 120 to 1. It's been recently in the 90s, beginning to get unwound. We knew that we said this has to get unwound, because if you want silver, then that's the next trade you go in and start to attack. And while this unwind of silver shorts, which is really what it is, you're shorting silver to buy gold. Now we're seeing the inverse. So obviously when you're buying back these shorts, you're selling gold. This is kind of assisted. This is the reason why it's outperformed gold very, very short term. Buyers coming into gold. But this is a good sign that insiders are busy clearing these very stale bearish paper bets in silver into a very strong Asian physical market. So as we assessed last time, there was really no reason for insiders to see silver below 24 at the end of last month, and it did hold above that level. Then we saw some gaming and the usual paper market gaming ahead of non-farm payrolls. Hey, but looks like it's blasting through again. I'm not counting out, but really the option structure, really, once we see this 24 breached, it's really looking more like 26 right now, which should be more comfortable. Remember, we said 24 would hold because the insiders were particularly, they didn't need it below 24. Now we're looking that they probably don't need it below 26. Now, as far as silver is concerned, though, a hold of 24 opens up 26, which is the last line of defense before what we call a gap close all the way into 2012. And that sell trigger, you can look at any chart, you go to 2012, and you can see that's where the sell trigger happened. Gaps get closed. $35 is where that gap will get closed. So really, the trigger point, the exact trigger point, 26,225. Get above that, hold that for a pit close, 35. It has to be. So to sum up what we see and expect, this is the strongest central bank related support for gold has now aggregated at 1,913. If you remember, that's a full $110 higher than what we evidenced on the 7th of March. Now, insiders, if you remember, we looked at this closely, they ran into central bank bidders. If you remember, we identified them, it was 1820. Now, while we do see some specs still left to rinse, we think 1,930 will be significantly front run, and footprints suggest any paper gold moves down into 1950 is sufficient to really kind of run out the non-sticky specs anyway. So very, very short term, most paper market participants will be on the sidelines ahead of holiday market non-farm payrolls, or maybe they're running for the hills, but usually they're on the sidelines. So you may see a little bit of illiquid volatility, but with both gold and silver in such strong physical demand, the cartel will be very wary about wholesalers circling back to the back of the COMEX door for supply. So that leaves us only one question, guys. How much physical do you own?
All right.
We don't own enough. We need more. What's up, Kenzie? What's the question? So Bobby, you can see, like he says, the 26. So what? Silver's at 25. This is paper, which we know is about to get blown up for physical. So it's at 20. It's going to 26. Then it goes to 35. He said. So now it's going to be $35 spot very shortly. And if it's $4 or $5 over for the bullion, that makes it $40 for the bullion and probably $45 for your liberties. As you can see on eBay, they were starting to get into the 40s. So with that said, that's where we're headed. So if you want to get any more, and I'm going to run very shortly. Well, I got till 3 o'clock. It's 1:40. Um, buy some more bullion now. It's a no-brainer. It's going to 40. We're not selling it at 40. And no, Bobby, I'm not selling it at 36. No way, no how, ain't gonna happen. To quote the guy on House Guest, Sinbad, it's not gonna happen. It'll never happen. I'm selling it at 2,000 an ounce. That's when I'll be interested, depending on if I need the money or not. So I'll have my money. I'll exchange it for the new money. I'll be on the gold boat, and basically Titanic sunk. I'm freezing up, bastards. I swear YouTube's been really acting up. Like it takes me like 5 minutes to load the show. Okay, so I'm back. Anyway, so that's what we're looking for. So no, this is not a stock. This is not I'm buying it at 25 to sell it at 36. No way. This is I'm buying it at 25 to collect it, to get more Brady cards and more Jordan cards and more Mantle cards, and just keep like I'm not. You don't see me selling my Jordans yet. I will, but not yet. Those should go way up in value because they won't be valued in dollars anymore. So if you want a good Jordan card that's $200, the value of the dollar is going down. So the value of the Jordan should start pushing up once people realize you don't pay dollars for it. Kenzie, do you have a question? You are confused or what? But ask a question. I can help you. What we're looking at is the British guy, a British economist, banker, and he kind of, I know all this, but when he says it, I explain it. It's good to get another point of view, especially the British, especially Austrian economist. And that's what he does. So basically, that's what he's saying is look out. They're just about breaking COMEX. That's why the values have been down. But once the COMEX breaks because of the BRICS countries and gold and silver start moving, you see silver at $75, $80 an ounce. Guess what happens? People get out of the banking system and start to buy, and that zooms the price. So most of the Americans who are just clueless and they're in the bank, they're still in the banking system, or they're buying farmland or real estate. I saw there was a kid, a lifeguard in the pool, and he's asking me about. He knows I'm an economist, so he starts asking me about jobs. He says, do you think it's a good idea to waterproof your to have a waterproofing, or what do you call them? I don't know, water something, let's call it waterproofing the driveways. I think that's a good business. I go, well, you got to look at demand. You got to look at competition and what the price is, and then what it's going to cost you. I says, I've heard of like waterproofing decks, because when I had a house, we used to waterproof the deck more than we would waterproof the driveway. I don't recall waterproofing the driveway too much, but every year you'd waterproof the deck. And then I told them, well, why even do that? Just go buy silver and just sit back and let it go up in price, and you have no risk. There's zero risk in gold and silver, and there's huge reward, and you don't have to do anything. You put your money in and you sit back and you wait till it goes up, and maybe you get a little job in the interim so you can pay your bills. But outside of that, that's really your business, right? Just think of that as your business. And most people can't comprehend that concept. They don't understand the concept. That's my job. Buy gold and silver at this price and sell it. Buy it here and sell it here. That's my job. That's my retirement. That's it. I pulled most of my money out of my 401k. I pulled most of my money out of my savings account. I got gold and silver, and that's it. I don't need really anything else. That's my retirement. I don't need life insurance. I don't need to worry about a grave and all that crap. So really, that's the key. So why waterproof or whatever you call it, sidewalks or decks or driveways? Like, why get a little, mom and pop shop when you don't need to? Just go work He's a lifeguard. Go if you need money, go work at a grocery store, be a lifeguard, make your money to pay your bills, and then just wait for gold and silver to go up. As you can see, it's only going to be a few more months, but when that spot silver hits 36, so it's at 25 right now, and it's going to go to 26, and then Katie bar the door, it's going to go to 35. And when it goes to 35, it doesn't come back down. You're not going to be able to buy the bullion at 28, 5, 26 that you could get it at. I just bought 20 ounces at 25, and then I just bought 15 ounces of the Liberties at 35, which I'll be shocked if they're still 35, but this coin guy's an idiot, doesn't listen to me, so fuck him. And then but I am not buying to sell it at a $5 gain, Bobby. I won't sell an ounce at 36. No, not a chance. Why? Why would I sell it? Why would I sell something at 36 that's going to 1,000? It's not going to happen. Now at 500, 600, if I need some money, I got to pay something, then yes. But basically, if I don't need it and I paid 25 an ounce for it, if I don't need it, I'm not gonna trade it in. So I still have a lot in my IRA that I'm gonna pull way before I'm gonna sell gold and silver at these low prices. So just understand that. He told you the prices are low. It's about to bust. He explained Russia, China on you, that the Russians, and they're coming out with the gold-backed dollar, which is fucking up Soros and Klaus Schwab and all the Nazis that want to imprison us, that they're all fucked with the gold, and there'll never be a one world country when you're not going to get Russia and China into it. And now you got Europe, and then you got Latin America, and all the Brazil and Argentina and India and all the African countries. Are you out of your mind? That'll never happen. There's one quote. So Alistair McLeod's on this one. Dollar collapse, which I just watched, and there's one point in it that I do want to share. What's with these fucking TikTok ads? Who the fuck cares? Nobody cares. Get off my channel, you fucking loser.
Iron Celtics. Once that conference goes, it doesn't matter what the quantity of this is, doesn't matter what purchasing power in the currency. The currency is not tied to anything. It's not tied to legal money. And incidentally, physical silver, physical copper have always been legal money. And, we went from sterling, a sterling standard, if you like, before the Napoleonic Wars we suspended, and then we went back onto a gold standard. I mean, we were sort of bimetallic for a little while as well. But basically, you need to tie that credit to something. Otherwise, what happens is, bank credit is tied to central bank credit. Those notes that you have in your pocket from the central bank are credit because the central bank is a counterparty to it, a risk counterparty. I don't know if you look at a pound note, it says, not a pound note, we don't have those anymore. We've inflated those away. But if you look at a tenner or a £20 note, it says, I promise to pay the bearer the sum of £10 on demand, signed by the chief cashier. That £10 is actually 10 sovereigns. 10 sovereigns now is £4,000, £4,100 to be more precise. So you can see that what's happened is that the purchasing power of currency has basically collapsed because it is no longer tied to anything corporeal in legal terms. And that is going to accelerate. I mean, we've already lost since Nixon took us off the Bretton Woods agreement in August 71. In sterling, we have lost 99% of its purchasing power. And the dollar has lost 98% of its purchasing power. The euro didn't exist at the time, but the yen has lost about 95, 96% of its purchasing power. And not many people actually appreciate that. But that is what has already happened.
Which is what I teach you, is that basically it's not worth anything. And that's why Oreos are $5 a pack, and the 2 liter of Coke's now $3. They didn't raise prices. The value of the dollar's less. So all he's trying to say is the gold and silver are real. All the currencies are not backed by anything. They're all collapsing. Hence the Titanic. All the currencies are on the Titanic, and the Titanic's hit the iceberg, and it's basically gone. And the only solution for people like us is to go on the gold boat. Go get gold and silver, and I'm telling you that silver is going to 35 an ounce relatively soon. And so if the guy's $4 or $5 over, we've been buying it for 25 an ounce. You're not going to get it. You're going to get it much higher. So let me get you to.
A lot. So from your perspective, even though they're moving away, their currencies probably aren't going to benefit. It will be everything's just going to devalue because of the system that we're in.
Well, it's interesting because until very recently, of course, the Americans have been able to keep everybody within their sphere of influence, either by threatening regime change or weaponizing the dollar or whatever. I mean, they're very clever at using their ultimate power. But now that's not working anymore. I mean, even Mexico are talking about accepting Chinese yuan. But the reality is that you have got, under the aegis of Russia and China, you've got 3.8 billion people in Asia who will be rapidly industrializing over the next 10 to 20 years. And the investment opportunities, the economic progress, I mean, some people call it growth, but growth is actually growth in credit. But yes, there will be growth in credit. But you can see that that's going in a completely different direction from us. You know, we're on the verge of a collapse. Yet the Asian, the big Asian populations are on the verge of something that we enjoyed in the 19th century. I mean, it's that stark. And interestingly, when these bank shares were all falling, there were 4 banks in the GSIBs whose share prices were actually rising. They were the 4 Chinese GSIBs. What's happening is that money supply is expanding. I mean, the broad money is expanding, which means credit is expanding. And the way it is expanding is it's expanding because of investment. I mean, there are investment opportunities. It is generating capital for all these development projects. They have got over their property crisis, which you may recall was the real feature of 2022. With we're looking at a situation which was sort of terrifying the pants off anybody who sort of hark back to liar loans and all the rest of it, and looking at the Chinese situation and saying, this is not good. And it wasn't good. But anyway, they've got over that and they're going in another direction. And they have the advantage of a very high savings rate. The average Chinese savings rate is over 40%. I mean, it's unbelievable to think that you put 40% of your after-tax income into savings as opposed to spending. What this means is that an expansion of deposits, which is really what money supply is measuring, is not used to bolster consumerism and therefore drive up consumer prices. No, rather like with the Japanese yen, which is how they've managed to retain such low interest rates, it has been used, if you like, to fund investment in production, capital investment. And incidentally,
Let's go to the next section.
And that is what we're seeing. So everybody is breaking ranks. And there's a very, very important point you raise here. It really is, Anthony.
In just the past few weeks, there's been quite an increase in the value of precious metals, so gold and silver and even copper. Do you think we're sort of seeing that? There's sort of this starting to be this loss of faith in the currency, or is it another trend that's influencing that?
Well, Yeah, it's not quite as simple as that. I mean, one thing we do know is that if governments take fright about the fiat currency system in the West, then they're going to be looking to insulate themselves from it. And the way you do that is hoard legal money. I mean, I must emphasize the status of gold is it is legal money. Nothing else is. Everything else is credit. Yeah. Very important to understand that. Central banks understand that. This is why central banks hold enormous quantities of gold. This is why they refuse even to let their own citizens have it, because they want to hold on to it. So this is legal money. It backs everything we do. So what you're seeing is record central bank purchases of physical bullion. Look at what's going on in COMEX. That's not a delivery market. I mean, the idea of these contracts being tied to gold and the delivery facility is basically not meant to be used for delivery, but to keep the contract sort of tied to the price sort of thing. But when you see, I think in this last week, something like 19,000 gold contracts stood for delivery. That's nearly 2 million ounces stood for delivery in 1 week. Where's this going? It's going into some very serious hands. And I'll tell you another thing which is very important. Part and parcel of, for example, Saudi Arabia saying that they will accept Chinese yuan is they will have been given confidence that the yuan will hold its value, or that the yuan, until there may be better arrangements or whatever, will give them the ability to hedge into gold. And what the Chinese have done is they have set up, through their various forward markets, futures markets, they have set up the ability for countries like Saudi Arabia to buy yuan and then hedge out of yuan into gold. And I would expect that Gulf cooperation organization countries like Qatar and so on and so forth, who are now sending energy to China. Now, I think that of that, the Saudis are likely to put some of that balance into gold. And the other thing is that, of course, the Russians are working very hard to come up with a trade settlement currency. And this is being hosted, if you like, by a committee under Sergei Glaziev, who's the very senior economic advisor to Putin. And he's running this through a committee of the Eurasian Economic Union. And we don't have any details yet, but the leaks that are coming out clearly show that this is going to be backed by gold. If not completely, then substantially. We have yet to see the structure. I know how they should do it. I have written about how they should do it. I would expect to see something similar, because from Glaziev's writings, particularly an article that he wrote for a Russian business magazine called I can't remember what it's called now. On the 27th of December, he described the situation pretty much as I see it. So I would expect something to work on a gold exchange basis. Now, what that will do, obviously, is it will kill the dollar, apart from anything else, because when this is announced, you will see that it then becomes very, very obviously a conflict between currencies which are attached to absolutely nothing and currencies which are actually backed by something. And I think that will actually turn things very nastily for the dollar very, very quickly. But I take a sort of slightly hopeful, positive view on this. I think that a lot of the problem is that the Americans have been trying to stop this progression in Asia. I mean, first of all, they wanted to break up Russia. They wanted to defeat Russia through the agency of Ukraine. And then they started warmongering against China over Taiwan. They were picking fights with both of the big hegemons, if you like. And I think that these recent developments with all countries moving away from America's sphere of influence, hopefully will get them to back off from their belligerent stance against the Asian hegemons, and try and come to some sort of understanding or whatever. That being the case, then we could have a very nasty current situation, but the threat of an escalation of the military problem might actually come off the table. So in this all, there's a little bit of good news, I hope, and I'm keeping my fingers very crossed that that's true.
Yeah, I agree. It's like in the 70s, you could say that, when Nixon went to China and sort of made an ally of them, even though there weren't that many similarities, it was to of Russia. So you could say that's sort of run away. But if you can just maybe go in there, and even if you don't see eye to eye, try and collaborate, then that's probably hopefully what we see. But Alistair, thanks so much for your time today. I really appreciate it. So my last thing is, what is one message you'd like people to take away from our conversation?
What I would say is that I think the best thing anyone can do is to hedge their 100% bets on the fiat currency system. Hoard some gold, hoard some silver, but preferably gold. Silver, you might, in theory, do better in, because what happens when gold rises is that's a fall, which basically means that silver outperforms gold, if you like, measured in fiat. Think in terms of gold, don't think in terms of fiat. Fiat is history, don't sink with it. That's my message.
That's a great message. As you said, it's just being
the Titanic, as we call it. There you have it. You can't do better than Sir and Andrew. So they're telling you, get the fucking gold, get it as quick as you can. What Alistair was saying at the end was that the U.S. wants war with China and Russia because they want to go on a gold standard, and he's hoping that instead of the war, there'll be a currency fight. So we're going to fight currency, not nukes, and we all survive if they don't fight nukes. And I don't think they will, because it just kills everybody. Why would they go to all this trouble, the Russians and Chinese, to buy gold to nuke everybody? Because they're going to get nukes, so they're not going to do it. So that's if I have a nuke and you have a nuke, we don't use them. And so the answer is going to be money, and we're just going to say, fuck you, we're going to fight you with gold, and you don't have any, so off you go. So we'll have to look for a country to move to, because I ain't going to live here with the fucking idiots ruining the money supply. What's the most important thing of a country? You have sound money, sound laws, sound money, sound business. That's it. You don't have sound laws and you don't have sound money here. What the fuck would you want to live here for? It's not the same as it was with Washington and Jefferson and the Adam Smith. You're not using Adam Smith. The communists are coming. They're invading my hot tub. So basically, you just got to look for safety and protect yourself. The gold's going to protect you, and it's about to go. And that's why I'm saying you better fucking go buy your silver now. And that's where I'm off to in 5 minutes, is to go buy another 20 ounces of silver. They're not open on Sundays and Mondays, so I got to run now. And they're only open till 3. So I got to go and get it. And, this is what's running up my credit cards, because I'm like, I need the money for the trip. I'm taking the credit card and buying it, and I'll pay it back later when silver hits 2,000 an ounce. I'll worry about my credit card. So there's a method to my madness. Anyway, that's what you need to do. It's coming very, very quickly, because the Russians are hurriedly getting their money into gold, which will spike the gold price, and the derivatives are going up in smoke, which will let silver go from 26 to 35, and then probably to 50 to 100, then boom, 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 until we won't even be on derivatives. We will be on physical, and once we hit physical, Katie, bar the door. Who the fuck knows? My guess is 2,000 silver, 50,000. A guess, conservatively. Probably a lot more, and it'll probably not even be in dollars anymore. Once it gets so high and the dollar collapses, gold will not be priced in dollars. So don't worry. I know that's a question. What do I do with my, what if the dollar collapses? What will my gold be worth? It'll be worth way more than you could ever imagine because it'll be priced in gold. What did the Romans do? They didn't have dollars. They had gold. They had silver. That was the currency. That's what our currency is. We'll be back in the Roman Empire. We'll look for Caesar and all those guys. And if we see the guy from Gladiator, we'll kill him before he gets in charge. But that's really what it's all about. So that's kind of, I saw those 2 videos, great videos, highly educational for me. So I'm explaining them to you. I know, like, all you guys are when. Oh, it's going to be like that one guy. Oh, it'll be 10 years from now. Yeah, okay, keep thinking that. Meanwhile, you got about 2-3 weeks till it hits 35 an ounce, and then gold. Once it gets off of COMEX and it's physical, which they're saying it's coming very quickly, look out. And then it won't be a nuclear war. It'll be a money war. And that's what we want. And then the value goes up and up and up. That's the best way to beat your enemy is if they can't afford it. And there's, if you don't have the money, you can't be in the war. Like that's what killed the Romans, right? They inflated their dollars. They debased them, which led to them not having any gold or silver, which led to the Germans getting all the gold and silver and attacking them because they were getting paid in gold and silver and the Romans weren't. So the Romans didn't fight because they didn't give a fuck because they weren't getting paid. You don't pay somebody or you tax them at 100%. You're not getting any productivity out of them. So that's what happened. So with that said, off to go buy some more silver. I'll buy gold if it's a 1/4 ounce. If I can get a 1/4 ounce or 1/10 of an ounce, I'll buy it. An ounce is hard. Going on the vacation, I got ounces. So silver is more or less, let's just buy some because it's before it moves. And that's what I want to do. So off to the coin store. Any questions or comments that anybody's confused on, please ask. Well, yeah, Bobby, the coin store will give me 92% for a Cougaran. I think it's 96% for a Maple Leaf. So the moral of the story is don't sell to a seller, right? The coin store is selling. So you don't really want to take your money in and sell it to them. A one offer is okay, but not generally go on eBay. You see what the values were on eBay. Bobby watched the beginning of the tape. No, I'm having a honeydew. It's very sweet. It's next to the cantaloupes. It's in that family, and it's very sweet. So yeah, I enjoy it. But it's a little sugary, so I don't get it too often. And it's a honeydew. It's one word, Bobby. It's honey, DEW, like Mountain Dew. All one word. I love it, Bobby. Yeah, really, you'll love it. It's really tasty. It's sort of sweet like watermelon, but it's in the cantaloupe family. It's a round, not like the watermelons flat. But be careful, watermelon's very sweet. Too much sugar, really. So Alistair was in the second video. Andrew was in the first. Silver 36, not this year, in the next month or so, or very, very soon. About it. Greg and John, yeah. UConn won. Now let's pick the NBA, and we can go from there. We'll start getting into that, the NFL draft, real quickly. Again, where is Aaron Rodgers going? These trades. Anybody who would take Max Jones or Tagliabue is out of their minds. I doubt Tagliabue plays much more. 5 concussions. I mean, that's what got Staubach quit, Aikman quit, Young quit because of concussions. I just don't see Tagliabue. He gets injured way too much, which I knew he would. He's never been a really good quarterback. At Alabama, he was okay, but he got hurt there. He's just injury prone. So I don't know. Hurts. I see Hurts getting injury prone, and having him do this quarterback sneaks, being pushed from behind. He's going to get like a Mahomes when Mahomes hurt his kneecap. Remember that? He tried the quarterback sneak and he hurt his kneecap, and he won't quarterback sneak anymore. Hurts is one play away from ending his career with a knee or something by doing a quarterback. Because if you're getting pushed from behind, you don't have control. So you might be getting pushed when your knee's caught, and you're going to break your knee. And I think it's the stupidest idea I've ever heard. Phillies coach should be. If you want to run it, use the running back or tight end, or why don't you push Boston Scott on a pitch 2 yards? I don't know. I find it an extremely dangerous play that he's doing, and he's going to get Hurts injured. I don't think Hurts is all that good, but we'll see. I told you Josh Allen wasn't all that good, and everybody's poo-pooing me, and you get your Trevor Lawrence guys. It's like, okay, you keep betting on them. I'm going to keep betting on Mahomes and Burrow. And I guess Brock Purdy had Tommy John surgery. I don't know how long he is. So the Niners might need a quarterback. So it'd be perfect if they got Rodgers for the year, and then Purdy's healthy and Purdy comes back. I would get rid of Trey Lance, except for they might need him next year, who's their quarterback. But if I was them, I would draft Thompson Robinson or Hooker. All of a sudden, I talk about Hooker here, and now Hooker's draft stock's going up. It's just like when I talked about the Titanic. Now I'm seeing boats going, everybody with the boats. Anyway, so that's about it. I want to get to the coin. The Coinstar closes at 3. So I'm going to go there and then probably do a little bit of swim. My feet are 100%. It's like it's jammed up, and then all of a sudden it frees up, and all the bullshit that was holding it is gone. My back's a little tender now. I don't understand how it goes from my feet to my back, but that's what happens. So now my sciatic's back. So I think all my sciatic pain went down to my feet, and then it comes back from my feet to the sciatic. But I can sit, I'm fine. It's when I walk certain ways or something. And then sometimes, like now, it doesn't hurt. I slept on my side. It kind of hurt. But I think I need to switch the mattress around or something. Otherwise, I think that's about it. The only thing I really need is a bathing suit, which I'll get. The Masters is on at 3, but I don't really care. It's on until 7. I'll come home to watch that. Chinese is not open. The lady's doing so good. She took 2 weeks off for spring break after last Saturday. That tells you how good the business is. She needs to raise her prices, but she just did. From 11 to 13 for General Chow. She really need to make it 15. She's still packed. You go at 2 o'clock on a Saturday. It's not lunch. It's not dinner. And it's still 10 people there. She's way too cheap. She doesn't realize that. I'll have to have a talk with her, but it doesn't give me an advantage because then I'll have to pay more for the General Chow. But this is a problem. See, you look at price for market, right? If the price is there and your demand's here and your price is here, then you can raise your price, right? And that's where gold is, right? The price is here, gold demand's here, silver demand's here. You can raise your price. So she's selling General Chow, the demand's up here and her price is here. She can raise her price probably I bet she could make it at least $17.99 from $13.99, and nobody would bat an eye because she doesn't really have competition. Nobody makes Chinese that isn't fried, that isn't, it's wok. There's no MSG. It's a little bit fried, lightly battered, General Chow. And you get the dinner, you get 25 pieces of chicken, but not chicken nuggets. They're very healthy, tasty, a little bit of broccoli. And I would easily pay $17.99 for that versus the $13.99. But it's not up to me. She should hire me as her economist. She'd make double, and I'd have another restaurant. I'd have one in Tampa, Bobby, for you. I'd put it right in your neighborhood. General Chow for $15.99. but that's what she needs to do. Is franchise out. She'd be a multimillionaire easily. It's good. It's healthy. And really, there's no other Chinese you can go to that's going to be that good and that healthy at that price. So anyway, that's how I'll end it. So no Chinese. Have a great day, everybody. If you watch the Masters, Kenzie, hello. I hope you're well. We will go, and that's about it. So I will see you tomorrow. And again, I was watching this yesterday, so I wasn't really prepared to do the show yesterday, do the class. So I hope you learned. The gold boat is leaving the dock very, very quickly. Like the bell's ringing, like, okay, we're leaving in 5 minutes. Get your gold now. It's going up in price, and you're going to hate it. If you don't buy it at now, and you can get it maybe 29, 30, and now it goes up to 35 spot, which makes it 40, 45 to buy it. What are you going to do? What are you going to do when Hulkamania runs wild on you? You're not going to like paying the extra. You're going to say, fuck, the professor was right. And that's the problem. You got to get it now because it's going up and there's no risk. You could put 60,000 into silver today. You would have no risk of losing a penny, and it's going to go up at least $10 an ounce. So that makes you $70,000 with no risk. Where else are you going to find that? You're going to, you can't bet a game and do that. You can't play poker and do that. You can't do anything and do that. Certainly can't do it in stocks. So watch, the Russians are killing the U.S. economy, and there's nothing they're going to do. We're not friends with Putin. We are not friends with China, and they're all pissed at us, and they're not going to. Our only hope is to get gold, which we're not doing because we're all Keynesians that are communists. So we're a bunch of idiots here, except for us. So we know what's happening. We can see the snowballs coming down the road, coming down the mountain. And we don't have to be idiots to do that. The Titanic sunk, KGB ate his Oriole. We see everything. We know what's going to happen. So go buy your fucking silver and gold very, very soon. I'm off to buy it now. All right, everybody, have a great day. Thank you for the class. Let me know if you have questions. Please feel free to ask questions and comments. That's why I do a live show, so I can help out Greg and John and Bobby and Kenzie and anybody else out there. All right. Thank you very much. Have a great day. www.teaserking.com. Only a few more months till football. All right. Take care, everybody.